Soccer. What do we need to know about our soccer team this year, and how are we looking as we move on in the season?
I think we have been gradually climbing the steps of success. We've been really good as a soccer program since 2013. We've been right there knocking on the door, 13, 14, 15, all the way through to 22. This is arguably probably one of the most talented groups that we've had come through. We had a very talented group in 2014. We lost to Capel. Capel went on and won state that year. This group that we have now is as talented or more talented. We are dealing with right now the egos and just them understanding, stay level-headed. What we did last year is last year. We have some unfinished business. We're knocking on the door. No one's answering.
Hi, my name is Dr. Marc Smith, and I'm superintendent of Duncanville ISD, and this is my podcast, Super Intentional. Hi, my name is Marc Smith, and this is my podcast, Super Intentional. I always say that leadership matters and everything rises or falls with leadership. I'm so excited today to talk to one of the awesome leaders in Duncanville ISD, Coach Nuno Passos. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Smith.
So good to visit with you today.
Thank you.
So, I was doing some research, learned a little bit about you. 277 wins. Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you. I think that's a testament to just the assistants, the players, parents, and the amount of time I've been doing this now.
Well, I've learned a lot about soccer, and my knowledge is still very limited. But because of you and your leadership and what you've done with the program, I've been enlightened by the power of the opportunity that soccer provides. I've had a chance to watch you and listen to you speak at a Rotary and Lions Club, and your passion is evident. So what does soccer mean to you, and where does that passion come from?
I think for me, if you have a little understanding of my background, I'm a kid that was born outside of Lisbon, Portugal in the 70s and immigrated to Toronto, Canada. Grew up in Canada, made my way down to the States, and got a job, had a family, live here, work here. If you understand that I was a kid that just was trying to find myself,
right,
and ended up through sports, through soccer, to be able to kind of just bring the passion to the sport, to the kids. It was just getting an opportunity to do something positive, and soccer was just the vehicle that I used for that opportunity.
When you think about Texas is a football state. How do you find space and a place for soccer to get attention? Where does that attraction come from?
Man, that's a great question. So I'm in a little bit of a predicament where out of all the states that I could have landed at, met my wife, got married, and started my career, Texas is one where football is king. But what I learned from being here and being around football is that passion, is that intensity, is that chaos, so to speak. So I just try to bring that same energy and ideas and thoughts to soccer. And I've just tried to carve a little space, and it's been extremely difficult to carve that space in the state of Texas. But the passion is there, the intensity is there, the competition is there. So it's fueled me to try to keep carving that space, although it's been very difficult in the state of Texas because of football.
Yeah. What I noticed about you, you are what I like to call a kid magnet. You attract kids. I've gone to several of your games, and there is an excitement in the stands. It may not be a lot, but those that are there, they're bringing their drums, they're beating their drums, they're yelling and chanting, And then the students, the student athletes that you have, they are awesome, and you could tell their passion. And so I'm always interested, what is it that you do to pull our students out, to get them to compete and be present?
I appreciate that, Dr. Smith. I have heard that before where, some of my peers have said that to me. And I think it's just everything that I've gotten in my life, I've earned. Nothing's been handed to me. Nothing's been given to me. I've always struggled coming up. Coming to Toronto, there was a language barrier. I couldn't speak the language. So there was a struggle there. And I just tried to find my way. And I just found it through pushing, persevering, never giving up, determination, passion. I just didn't accept no for an answer. So I bring that same mentality to the kids. Initially, the kids receive it, and it's hard because it makes them uncomfortable. But then we get to a point where we get comfortable being uncomfortable, and they have success. Through that success, they understand that in order to be successful, you have to pay the price. So we just try to make them understand if it's worth having, you have to pay the price. So we just push and push and push, and sometimes we get pushed back. But I think they start to see the success, and I think it starts to, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy where they see the success, they understand the hard work, they understand that it's worth doing. So they allow us to push, we keep pushing, and we push as far as we can. And for the most part, I think they enjoy the ride, and they're all in, and they're supportive, and they agree with what we're doing. Sometimes when you tell one that they're not pushing enough, it hurts their feelings, but they look around and they're okay with it until you tell them. So it's just a maturity that they have to understand that it's fair, it's consistent, everybody gets it. Learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Wow, there are so many leadership nuggets in what you just said. It take us days to unpack it, but I hope you realize the power in your words, because you are a leader, and a leader casts the vision. And so what you did is just really outline what your vision is for soccer. And so because this is a podcast where we talk about leadership and focus on leadership, I want to spend some time there. How do you cast that vision, and how do you get people to buy into that vision?
I just think in life you've got a choice to make. If you want to be a winner or you want to be a loser. You have a choice which direction you want to go. Winning takes a lot of energy, work, sacrifice, commitment. I have never really had anything given to me or handed to me. I never knew of another way. My parents were hardworking immigrants. They worked all day. I went to school. I kind of raised myself. I didn't have a brother until I was 10 years old. So I only saw the world in two ways, the haves and the have-nots. And I was hoping that my parents would find their way and they would, help me become a have by giving me stuff.
Right.
Well, I quickly learned as a family that was an immigrant family that's poor and just trying to make their way, that no one was going to give you anything. So I don't know how it came about. I don't know how it was created, other than I couldn't speak the language. So when I think this, you're asking me this question, I'm thinking it through. I couldn't understand the words, but I had my eyes. So I was instinctively just looking. How does he have this? How do they have that? How come I don't have this? How can I get this? And the only thing I knew to do was to just work at it. So I became passionate at it to a point that it's sometimes a little bit obsessive, where it's too much and you need some balance. But I just kept pushing and kept pushing. And it's just, I think, inside my character to bring that to whatever I'm doing, that when I think I'm involved with a team, they only have two choices: to either be a part of the process or not. So it's a 50-50 thing where we don't have the most amount of kids in our program. We don't have, we're not leading the state or the area or the region in participation, but we're super competitive because of that mindset and that mentality. And I think it's a stubbornness on my part to just paint the picture of you're in or you're out. And I think I'm lucky that the kids make the decision to be in. The ones that we need to be in are in. The ones that don't need to be out are out because they're not willing to pay the price. So I would say it's a stubbornness to stick to the standard, and they either reach the standard or they can't be a part of it. So it's a stubbornness to the vision.
Yes, that's a leadership nugget for me, and I'm sure for our audience, that stick-to-itness that any leader needs to accomplish whatever it is you set out to accomplish. It's like you said, it's going to be hard work. There are going to be ups. There are going to be downs. There are going to be challenges. You are trying to promote soccer in a football state, in the city of champions where football and basketball are top priority in the minds of many, but yet you're doing it. And without that will to win and that intense focus that you bring, I think people can see that in you, and the stick-to-itness, it's not going to happen. And because of that, we have one of the best soccer programs, if not arguably the best soccer program in the state. Just recently, this early in the season, we were ranked number 1.
Yes, sir.
And so that's a testament to your leadership. So I'm taking those leadership nuggets and reminding myself, and we'll be reflecting on that quite a bit. You build a bridge for your students to tap into their potential when they leave Duncanville ISD. Give me a little insight on what that's like. What, because of you and your program, what are the kids doing when they leave Duncanville?
So the other part of this, we're trying to win as many games as possible all the time. The other part, and the absolute most important part, is we're using soccer to teach the game of life. When it gets hard, when we have challenges, when there's adversity, when we're having some breakdowns, and the kids are looking to go in a different direction, we bring back why we're doing what we're doing. And at the end of the day, it has absolutely nothing to do with soccer, and it has absolutely everything to do with character, decision-making, adversity, consequences. If you make a good decision, good things happen. I use this example with them all the time. You get good grades, you go to a good college. You go to a good college, you get a good job. You get a good job, you buy a nice house. You buy a nice house, you attract a nice, spouse.
Yes.
You have a nice life. You make a bad decision, you live in a bad apartment. You live in a bad apartment, you drive a bad car. You drive a bad car, you have a bad job. You have a bad job. So positive people attract positive people. Negative people attract negative people. We use soccer as a vehicle for them to learn about the game of life. And I think the thing that I'm the most proudest thing of at Duncanville is we have so many kids that come through there that if it was not for soccer, they would not have kept coming to school. They would not have graduated. They would not have found their way. A lot of our kids come, they play, they don't know what they want. They land at a college, they learn a trade, welding, being an electrician. They turn around 3-4 years later. We had this happen where I think we put the word out, or something had happened with one of the storms through social media. We had one of our kids reach back out to us to fix an issue with an assistant coach that we had that had plumbing issues, and one of our kids that had given us problems and was a challenge to get him through was the first guy to reach back out to us and say, I'll come to your house, and came to the coach's house, fixed the coach's plumbing issue, and it was the middle of the night, and he was the first guy to respond and help, and he was one of our biggest challenges when we had him.
Yeah, that is a testament to the work that you do, that we all do as educators, and the difference that we really make. That's why, I always think about in leadership how we are never to underestimate the power of influence that we have on the students that we work with, because you never know what impact you can have on someone else's life. And it's good from one leader to another to know that we have the kind of leaders in Duncanville that's the mindset, that you get it. Not everybody gets that, but you get it, and you're intentional about making sure that you use soccer, if it happens to be soccer. That's the vehicle that you use to pull kids in to cast a vision for their life so that they can go, like you said, and have a good car and have a good degree and have a good place to live. And you can just see that multiplying effect on positive things happening when you make positive choices. But another part of being a good leader is having patience. And you exercise a great deal of patience because the kids don't come to us already refined as a soccer player, nor as someone that's ready to embrace life challenges. So from a leader, can you touch on some of your experiences and how you've made a difference in some of the kids that you work with?
I think now with age, now with time, now with experience, as I've aged, I've become better at being patient. When I was younger, that was not my strength. I was, pushing, pulling, fast, let's go, should have been yesterday, moving, just 1,000 miles a minute, all gas, no brakes. As I've gotten older, since COVID, things have changed. It has opened my eyes to this idea of the importance of the effect that we have, what we say, has really brought to the forefront that what we do really affects those kids, and has taught me the patience now that I need to deal with this new landscape that we're in. And I guess it's just timing, the way the world works. I'm not sure I would have been ready before COVID to deal with some of the adversity that we deal with on a
Right.
day-to-day basis, where we would have said, it's not going to work, not now, not here, you're going to have to go somewhere else. But we have taken that and we have sat in the office as a coaching staff and said, what else can we do? And as the incidents have occurred, there's the one coach that, a month earlier in the conversation would say, we need to move from him. And then a month later, we need to keep him. We need to find a way. And what I think has happened since COVID is it's just taught everyone that there's a bigger picture. It's way bigger than we ever thought. And that has brought that patience to me, where I'm not going to give up. I'm going to help. I'm going to push, but you're ultimately going to jump. I will push you to the edge, but I'm no longer going to push you off the edge, because before COVID, we'll push you off the edge. We're going to give you 1, 2, 3 chances. After COVID, we push you to the edge, we back up. And then you're either going to jump or you're going to come back at us, and we're going to keep pushing you to the edge. It's exhausting. It's challenging. I've never been pushed. Our staff has never been pushed to this level. From the outside looking in, it looks easy. From the outside looking in, they have all the pieces. From the outside looking in, they have all the answers. From the outside looking in, they have all the talent. Nothing could be further from the truth. We're doing as much as we can with what we have in developing those kids and holding those kids accountable and pushing those kids to have a competitive mindset. We are squeezing every drop from the grape that we can. And honestly, as a staff, I think we would laugh and chuckle at the outside looking in and saying, Duncanville has all the pieces. We do not have all the pieces. We work extremely hard, pushing and squeezing every drop that we can get from the kids.
I had an opportunity to have as guests on the podcast 2 of your peers.
Yes, sir.
Earlier back in 22, this school year.
Yes, sir.
We had Coach Samples and we had Coach Peavy. We talked about that very thing. There's this perception out there that it is easy to coach in Duncanville because you have all the talent. And that's really dismissive when you think about it, because people that say that don't understand what you just defined and the work that happens and what all goes on behind the scenes to really, really put your students, your athletes in a position to be successful and to live up to the standard of City of Champions. Because playoffs is really not, for some schools, making the playoffs is you have a parade for that. Yeah. We don't have a parade for that in Duncanville. Yes. We have parades for state championships and things of that nature, and those that are really getting close to that. So there's a lot of pressure that comes with coaching in Duncanville, but you as a leader, you handle it well.
It's been a challenge. It's been at times you feel like your hair's on fire, but it's a challenge that we all accept. We know what we're getting into. Our peers that we're looking up to are doing an unbelievable job at setting the bar, setting the standard. They're doing things that I've never seen in 24 years. It's unprecedented what football has done. It's unprecedented what basketball has done. I'm happy. I'm honored that I'm here, that you asked me to come here, because all I'm trying to do is shine a light on what the little guys are doing. And the little guys, some of them are punching above their weight, and they keep trying to knock people out. And they can take a punch, and every now and then they get down. But the most important thing is they get back up and they keep throwing punches. So if you never quit, if you keep pushing, if you believe, if you're persistent, consistent, stubborn, you can get there at a price.
Absolutely.
And it's tough.
I see why your student athletes are as competitive as they are. One thing, I don't know a lot. You taught me just a few things, in like seconds at one of the recent games. You came up right before the game started, and you said, hey, look for this or watch this. And so I was really intrigued looking and watching for it, because I'm a novice with the nuances of soccer. But the one thing I can pick up is how the kids come to compete. And boy, I tell you, our kids compete, and that has to come from the leader. And so I want you to know, I see them competing. You can touch on their competition and how they compete. But, as you look at where we are this season, for those of us that may not have gone to a game yet, or for our audience who, might not know about soccer, what do we need to know about our soccer team this year? And how are we looking as we move on in the season?
I think we have been gradually climbing the steps of success. We've been really good as a soccer program since 2013. We've been right there knocking on the door, 13, 14, 15, all the way through to 22. This is arguably probably one of the most talented groups that we've had come through. We had a very talented group in 2014. We lost to Capel. Capel went on and won state that year. This group that we have now is as talented or more talented. We are dealing with right now the egos and just them understanding, stay level-headed. What we did last year is last year. We have some unfinished business. We're knocking on the door. No one's answering. We may need to go around the back door. We may need to climb in through the window. We may need to jump on in through the roof. It's our time. We need to stay healthy. We need to make sure we continue to pass our classes. We need some bounces. Soccer's a funny sport where the ball rolls both ways. Sometimes it rolls your way. Sometimes it rolls against you. We need it to roll our way, but we have a chance this year to do something we haven't done in 30, 40 years. I like our chances. I like the way the kids are working towards that chance. We're going to go for it. We're going to see if we can kick in that front door. We've been really, really, really good for 10 years. We've been ranked in the area, in the state, in the region, in the nation. I think our program's been top 50 now the past 10 years. We just haven't won state. And at Duncanville, the standard is winning state. Our football program can do it. Our basketball program can do it. Our soccer team is really, really close.
Absolutely, we are.
So it's our time to kick in the front door, win state. And if we don't, we're going to do everything we can. And if the ball doesn't roll our way, that's fine, as long as we give it everything we have. And I think, and I would hope, that people appreciate that this soccer program, if we picked it up and we moved it anywhere else in the state of Texas, they would have some pep rallies.
Absolutely.
They would have some celebration on the accomplishment of what the kids are doing. But at Duncanville, we just got to get one level higher, and we strive towards it every single day.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that insight. I love talking to coaches. So much of leadership is about coaching. You can't be successful unless you are an outstanding leader. And I think today, so many things about your leadership stood out to me that is good for any leader to apply. Your stick-to-itness, your intensity, your focus, your ability to create a mindset that, so what, now what? We may not have everything, but we're going to create and make something out of nothing. That's a lesson for all leaders, because we are at a time now in education where things are so different from maybe when you and I started. Everything is different. And you do have to have a leadership mindset in order to achieve and do the work that we're all called to do. And so I'm honored to be on the same team with you. I'm looking forward to the rest of this season and all the great things that are going to happen with our students. And I'm looking forward to coming to the games and being on the sideline, not in your way.
Yes, sir.
Just on the sidelines, enjoying. Oh, you know what I didn't notice and didn't realize? Soccer is physical. Oh, my God, standing so close. I'm kind of a football guy, and I hear all the contact. But when I was on the sideline with you last year, it hit me on another level. It is it's physical. I don't know how our kids handle that physicality. It is physical.
I think a lot of spectators or a lot of people that are not used to the game, and they come to the game, and they come to a game at a higher level, and they get down at the ground level, are very surprised by the physicality and the speed of play.
Yes.
The speed at which the kids take the decision and play. It's eye-opening, and it's something that I share with people that come first or second time. What'd you think of the speed of play? What'd you think of the physicality? What'd you think of the athleticism? You normally think of soccer, weekend
right.
sport, leisurely, run around, kick the ball, it goes off the field. And then you come to a varsity 6A high-level game, and it is at a different level. So I appreciate you seeing that and witnessing that, because more people need to come witness that and see it for themselves.
Absolutely. It is not a soft sport.
No, it's not
no way. So thank you, Coach, for being here today. Thank you for sharing leadership nuggets. I always look to learn and take something back. Either it's something new, or either it's something that confirms what I already try to apply every day. And so you've reminded me to have that stick-to-itness. You've reminded me to have the so what, now what mindset. And you've reminded me of just how important the work that we do and the impact that it really has on our students. And use whatever tool, gift, or talent you have to turn that light bulb on for kids. Yours just happens to be soccer. And you are making a difference, and we appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for sharing those leadership nuggets today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very grateful. I'm very honored to be here. I appreciate the opportunity of you shining light on soccer. And we're not the only ones doing this. There are other programs doing wonderful things. And I just today feel like I'm a little guy speaking up for one of the little guys and bringing some light to all the positive and wonderful things that are being done at Duncanville by a sport that's not up at the top, winning those state championships. I'm just one of those other guys, and I'm just so humbled and appreciative and grateful that you're shining a light into our program, into those kids, and into another sport. So Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Where the leader shines a light, people will watch and pay attention.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to be paying attention, and we appreciate everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My name is Dr. Marc Smith, and this is my podcast, Super Intentional, and we focus on leadership. We had an outstanding leader today, so many leadership nuggets that we can take away and apply in whatever realm of leadership we're in. And so thank you again, Coach. Everything rises and falls with leadership.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Super Intentional with Dr. Marc Smith. Go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're listening on audio platforms, be sure to subscribe and rate the episodes. Follow us on all social media platforms.